These men are Afghan Muslims who have taken up arms against the communist regime in Afghanistan. They are returning from Pakistan to the eastern province of Kunar. They are called Mujahideen, and they are fighting jihad. Maulay Saab Hussain is now leading all the Mujahideen fighting in Kunar province.
As Muslims, we have a teaching and understanding about jihad. Fight them so there will be no division, and the whole religion will be only Allah's. In Islam, we understand that jihad is obligatory on us for two reasons. Firstly, when the actions of those in power come between a people and the truth, and build walls between them, deceiving them and making them live in fear. We fight jihad to destroy that power, and then the religion will be for Allah alone. And the second purpose of jihad is to free people from slavery and let them live in freedom. To live under one law that doesn't come from the minds of men, but comes from Allah, the Creator, the King who governs the heavens and the earth.
The Afghans, particularly the largest ethnic group, the Pathans, are fiercely independent. When the Halq Party, a minority communist group, led by Nur Muhammad Taraki, overthrew the existing government in 1978, the people regarded their policies as oppressive and a threat to their way of life. The Halq Party government is supported by the Russians, who had for a long time poured substantial aid into Afghanistan. Afghanistan is strategically important to Russia in relation to the Middle East and the warm waters of the Indian Ocean. The people were not opposed to Russian interest in Afghanistan until the Russians actively backed the new regime with extensive economic and military aid.
They are using Russian guns and tanks and are bombing indiscriminately, killing our women and children. The Russians are bombing, dropping different kinds of bombs, and this bombing is destroying the houses where the people live. They have Russian soldiers and advisors, and their attack was instigated by the Russians. Our people won't fight against us.
These Afghans have walked 1,500 miles to buy guns at Dura, a town in the northwest tribal area of Pakistan, where there is a flourishing arms trade. Despite the simple machinery, they produce working copies of sophisticated military weapons in Dura. The Pathans of the northwest frontier consider it a basic right of man to carry arms, and the gun is one of their most treasured possessions. For the Afghans, it is now an expensive necessity, with bullets costing at least $1 each. In a recent clampdown, the Pakistan authorities have attempted to stop the movement of arms through their territory, making things more difficult for the Mujahideen.
If Pakistan helped us in the coming and going of our weapons, things would be much easier. We are not being helped with arms. If we had been, we would never have lost even one battle. We are buying our guns and ammunition from Dura with our own money, and no one has helped us with this. Otherwise, we could finish the war in 20 days.
The only road in this part of the northwest frontier runs through the Khyber Pass. This is the territory of the Pathan people. When the British established the border here, they drew an arbitrary line along the highest mountains and divided the Pathans between Pakistan and Afghanistan. With Pathans living on both sides of the border, control of their movements is nearly impossible. On the Pakistan side, the Pathans coexist peacefully with the government because they are allowed a separate legal system and a high degree of autonomy in their tribal areas. The Pathans are adept at smuggling goods back and forth across the border. And in this way, the Mujahideen carry their arms and supplies into Afghanistan. This group are returning to the Shigal Valley in Kunar province to join the fighting there. 85% of Afghanistan's population are farmers. They almost immediately distrusted the Halq Party's literacy programs and the land reforms which aimed to redistribute the land, encouraging individual and cooperative ownership. The Halq Party had no real representation in the countryside. The people rejected the government agents and their alien ideas. Loyal to their traditional feudal system and their tribal leaders, the people began to question the authority of the new regime that was trying to intervene in their lives. They believed that the government was robbing them and attempting to win favor by giving land and wealth to its supporters. Within a month, the situation had developed into one of a centralized state at odds with the people it was claiming to represent. The regime used the army to maintain its security and authority, and its methods soon became heavy-handed. Resistance began here, in the Shigal Valley, in Kunar province, when the government tried to implement its policies by force. 20 days after the coup which brought Taraki's regime to power, troops came to the house of a local leader, Kashmir Khan. They attempted to arrest him and shot 4 unarmed men. Kashmir Khan managed to escape and is now leading the fighting in the Shigal Valley. The troops returned the next day and burnt down Kashmir Khan's house and several others in the village. They moved on up the valley to Nariat, a neighboring village, and burnt it to the ground. 5,000 people had lived here. Like many others all over Afghanistan, Kashmir Khan and the people from Nariat fled through the mountains to settle their families as refugees in Pakistan. Pakistan is not supporting the current fighting, but is trying to provide food and shelter for the Afghan refugees. There are now an estimated 200,000 of them in Pakistan alone.
They killed everyone. See how old I am? I have never left my country before. I have never been here before. We left because of the rule of the Democratic Halq Party and oppression, and because we do not accept their laws. Our houses were bombarded, our villages burned. One Friday at 3 o'clock, government troops came to the village and burnt, for no other reason than that we were Muslims.